Well, good evening, everyone. I had a very slight hitch there. I'm actually trying a different streaming setup today, and this is the first time, so I'm really hoping that it's going to work okay. Well, I'm on my own tonight. I will have guests or presenters for next week, but I made a suggestion that, well, I'll show you exactly what the suggestion was. It was this. How would you spend 100 million euros? What would you spend 100 million euros on to improve Mijas? Well, we're going to come to that. And I've been staggered at the response that I've had just to the scheduled stream. People have been commenting all over the place. We're going to look at some of these comments, but I really would like you also to to join in and I'll explain some things about how finances work in local councils because I think most of us probably don't know. I'm still learning. But first of all, just a second, right? I think, because of the time that we're coming into, we're just over a year to the elections. I think I do need to make this disclaimer at the beginning of the videos. I am a councillor for the Partido Popular here in Mijas, but the live streams were not set up for political purposes. They really were set up to try to get the community involved and to try to inform the community. So, as I say, I am a councillor, but I'm not here to sort of plug politics here. Okay. Um, right. All except right. Okay. I'm just looking. All right. I'm just looking at where the comments come in. I've got nobody listening in at the moment. I had a couple of people there a few minutes ago. Okay, but I'm going to keep going anyway because this will be going up on YouTube, and I think there's some things that might be quite useful for you. Um, I've had a lot of conversations over the time I've been a councillor, and people asking they want to write to the council about this or about that, and then they asked me the question, do I have to write it in Spanish? Now, um, the reality is that we are in Spain, and, if we were in the UK, we would expect people to write to the council in English. So if it can be done in Spanish, then, so much the better. We can't really expect councillors and civil servants to be able to understand our English and to be able to reply in our English. What I wanted just to show you is a very simple way of doing this. Either if you receive something in Spanish that you don't understand, or if you want to send something out in Spanish and your Spanish you don't feel is good enough for that. And I'm going to show you something called Deep L Translator. I'll show you what the link for that is in just a moment. I'll put it up on the banner here at the moment underneath. So deepl.com, in my opinion, is a far better translator than you will find on like Google Translate. And if I can just share the screen with you, it's online. You don't need to you don't need to download an app or anything. You can do it on your phone online, or you can do it on your laptop online. That's what it looks like, deepl.com, and it'll take you into this translator. Now, if I can just show you, for example, I've taken a piece of text from, actually, it's from the weekly email from the Foreigners Department. And although they do actually send it out in English, it's just an example. If I just pop it into here and paste it into here, you'll see that you get a pretty good translation of the Spanish text into English. Okay, it's that simple. And there are things you can do. You can change words. You're not going to change it probably in the English end, but on the Spanish end, if you're translating uh, English into Spanish, and your Spanish is not too bad, you can sometimes fiddle about with the words that you want to use. Let me just show you just very quickly. If I were to take this piece of text, which is in English, and pop it into it into DeepL. Um, this is something that someone contacted me about today, and I just mocked up the kind of thing that they could possibly send in there. I'd like to ask about the area around the fairground being cleaned, lots of mobile homes there on a regular basis, and a lot of rubbish gathering around the fences at the golf course. And actually, you've got a pretty decent Spanish translation there. It's a very kind of intuitive system. DeepL, so, there's no reason why, if you want to contact the council and you want to send them an email, that you can't do it in Spanish. All you have to do is either just copy it down here or just copy it like that and then paste it into an email or a message or whatever. I wanted just to run that by you though, because this is something that comes up again and again and again. And I think this is a fairly reliable way to do it. If you get an email, you don't understand it, you just copy it, pop it into DeepL, and you get a pretty good idea of what the content of the email is. And as I say, I'm not knocking other translators that might be around there. What I am saying, though, is this is a particularly good one. If I have to do a fairly hefty text in Spanish, I'll very often do it in English, pop it into DeepL, and then do some tweaking about it on DeepL, just to get it the way I want it looking. It cuts down my time quite considerably. Okay, so that's deepl.com, and you will be able to use that quite easily, either on your phone, your mobile phone, a tablet, or on a desktop. Okay. What would you spend 100 million euros on to improve Mijas? Um, that number didn't come out of the blue. That is roughly, give or take, 1 million, the amount of money that Mijas Council has in surplus. Now, I suppose the first question is, why does it have this amount of surplus? Well, simply because over the years, they've been charging us our taxes and all the other sources of income that they have, and they haven't been spending it all. Uh, I don't know what the figures are for the last year or two, but certainly from 2015 to 2019, there was maybe only 70 or 75% of the budget being spent in the year. So basically, these are taxes that are being charged, go into the coffers. They don't just sit in a bank account, they go somewhere different, but it is a surplus that Mijas has. Some money was spent last year to help small businesses, but I have to say this is a complicated one, and I can't explain it, but I don't want to go into too much detail on this just at the moment. Okay, so we got a lot of money in surplus. That's on top of our annual budget, which, although we don't actually have it at the moment, is likely to be somewhere in the region of 100 million euros as well. So we've got 100 million euros in the budget for the next year, roughly, I expect. And then on top of that, there's about 100 million euros in surplus uh, belonging to Mika's Council. Now, um, the first thing I have to say is this, that there are three things about spending this money, and I'm gonna pick up on some of your comments, and some will be disappointed. But, first of all, in order to be able to spend it, the council has to meet the regulations on the payment period to suppliers, which is 30 days. So there's 30 days to submit the account and 30 days to pay it. At the moment, they are sitting, I don't know, around about 90, 95 days, and have been for the last 5 or 6 years. So they're not meeting that criteria, which makes it difficult to spend any of this money. Secondly, the council must produce a plan for financial stability. So looking at where its money is coming from, looking at what it's spending it on, they don't have one of those either. So that makes it difficult to spend it. And the third thing is that even if they meet these conditions, they will still need to spend it on capital projects. So they can't just spend it employing more people, which is really revenue costs that come up year after year after year. It has to be spent on capital projects that don't involve employing lots of people to actually make them work. Okay, so those are three things. What I'd like to try and do, if I can, is to share with you some of the comments. I'm going to, people's names are on here, but I don't think that's a problem because they are posted on Facebook. So let me just go to my Facebook page, and this is my work page. And what you'll see is some of the comments that people have been making, and really have been quite a lot of comments about what they think this money should be spent on. We've got Sonia who says, tidying up the urbanization, small kiosks in the boulevard for people who can't afford to rent big premises. And let's face it, rents are very expensive, certainly in the Lacala area. I don't know what they are in other parts of Mijas. The old racehorse track, getting it turned into something functional. Well, there are lots of good suggestions here. And certainly tidying up the urbanizations, money could be spent on that from the budget that we already have. I think it needs to be organized better. And certainly, the kiosks, I think, are a very nice idea as well. Brian McDonald, I don't know if you're joining us tonight, Brian. Yeah, extend the train from Fuengirola. Yeah, the problem with this, I think this has to be done on by central government. I think a project on this scale that crosses over different municipalities would need to be done on a national scale. But these things have to be pushed from Fuengirola as well, from Fuengirola and from Mijas and the municipalities that are going to benefit from it. Yeah, cleaning up the urbanizations. Well, they can put more money into the contract for road cleaning, and I think it should be extended to the urbanizations. Road markings at junctions, very simple things, but can make a huge difference. Setting up a booth at shopping centres so people can register to vote. Oh, I think that's a complicated one because it would need to be tied into the council's computer systems, but I'm sure that could be done. Maintaining the boardwalk, definitely. Send a memo to the current mayor. There's no more Mijas Costa. There's more to Mijas Costa than La Cala. Yeah, I think a lot of people who live in urbanizations feel sometimes a bit neglected by what happens in the urban nucleuses in the Pueblo, in Las Lagunas, and in La Cala. We got another one about the proposed rail line. Yep, that would be great. Get rid of dog cack. It's all over the place at the moment, and also down to the Japanese garden area that's covered by it. Again, these are things that could be done within the current cleaning contracts that we have. It needs to be organized. Municipal pool. There is actually a municipal pool being built in La Cala. I think it has started. It's been on the plans for a long, long time. But there will be a decent municipal pool in La Cala near the football pitch, hopefully within the foreseeable future. Mia, I know Mia has moved to England, but she's talking about social health for businesses because of the decrease in tourism, which obviously has been brought about by well, the whole C things. I don't want to mention the C word because it's going to get me into trouble with YouTube. Yeah, it's a very complicated one because actually the giving of grants to businesses is really not in the competence or in the gift of local authorities. That should be done by the junta. And if the local authorities want to do that, they really should apply for permission from the junta to do it. And if they want to spend that money from their surplus, then they need to get their financial act in order with the payment period and with the plan for financial stability. We've got dropping the curbs in Cala Honda so people in wheelchairs can cross at crossings. Well, that's fundamental, isn't it? Yep. I think Lee has experience of projects. build a roundabout, then a year later remove it like they did in Benalmádena, or paint some arrows along the pavement that no one pays any attention to, like they did in Fuengirola, or create a bus lane that blocks the traffic. And then he's also said, let's do something about the Mijas donkeys. Well, I would certainly like something drastic to be done here. I would like to see a centre set up, and yeah, I think money could really be used to set up a visitor centre for the Mijas donkeys. And I think that's a great idea. The hippodromo, the racetrack, hippodrome. Um, yeah, I think there are endless possibilities there. And we've got a couple of people have mentioned in other pages as well about parking. Yeah, parking is certainly a major problem in various parts of Mijas. I know people say more parking in La Cala, but you're going to have to knock buildings down to create more parking in La Cala, or you're going to have to dig big holes in the ground to do it. I've traveled around a lot of the small towns in Andalusia, and I have to say that I haven't found any of them that has the amount of parking that we have in the fairground within 5 minutes of the centre, and very often they're built on the sides of mountains, and you've got to park and then walk a fair bit to get to the town centre. Mijas Pueblo, certainly serious problems when it's in full swing. And there are, I think, some plans around. There have been plans being looked at for some time now. But definitely, Mijas Pueblo needs more parking because when things are busy up there, you can't get parked after 10 in the morning and people driving around. So yeah, there's certainly, I think, a huge project to be looked at down there. Now, I'm not seeing any messages, um, and I don't know if that's because I'm doing something silly, um, or because nobody's sending me any messages. Please, someone send me a message to at least see if I can see them. Okay, so I made myself some notes here. Oh yeah, and John Sharples did mention, what about a cat sanctuary? Well, yeah, that's something that could be done. What I would like to see, regardless, though, is more support to all of the animal refuges and charities that are around in Mijas. We have some fantastic services for animals, for cats, for dogs, for donkeys. And I would love to see those being supported more by the council. I think one of the biggest bills that all of these organizations have are vets bills. Why can't we be supporting them to a tune every year to help them with the vets bills? Um, they are doing a fantastic job, not just for the animals, but for our communities as well. And I certainly would like to see more support coming from the council for these animal charities that we already have. Whether it's right for the council to set up its own, because that employs staff and whatever, but certainly supporting the charities that we have got and all the volunteers that go with that, I think would be an excellent idea. I mentioned right at the beginning that I am a councillor with the Partido Popular. That this is not a political broadcast. This is really, hopefully, more of a public service broadcast. But I just want to get people involved in the processes that are happening in Mijas, and hopefully to understand a little bit about how things work. I should just say that Angel Nothal is the president of our party here in Mijas, and it's his birthday today. So many happy returns, Angel. Hope you had a great day. And he has, we have the Congress on Saturday, where he is standing for re-election as president for another 4 years. So it's going to be a big year for you, Angel, and let's hope it's a great one. Um, I'm going to give some publicity to one charity that I've had a lot of contact with, not as much as I would like, but a lot of contact with since it was set up. And this is Donkey Dreamland. Let me just look at this. Okay, Donkey Dreamland is set in the hills behind La Cala, and basically it rescues donkeys. Some are local, some come from further afield, and they got a lovely girl delivered here just a few weeks ago, called Olivia, and I'm going to see if I can share just a little bit of their video, because it really is quite heartwarming. So let me just go to this and see if I can show you this. Um, and hopefully we get some sound as well.
So this is the moment that we waited for 2 days. This is the moment that Olivia arrives to Donkey Dreamland. We knew about her case 2 days ago, but we wanted to make sure that she could recover a little bit before adding her into the truck. It's quite dangerous sometimes for a donkey that is so weak to do the transport, because many times they just die of stress, and we didn't want that to happen to her. Well, you can see her state, you can see how damaged she is. She's got different issues. Of course, you can see that she's been beaten by dogs, and nobody has been taking care of these injuries. She also had a
Okay, that was Olivia. She's had a very hard time, and because she's a large animal, obviously the vet bills are very high. They've had to try to get her strengthened up first. She needs an operation on some of her ligaments, and if you are in the position to help out with this, that they are collecting a GoFundMe page to help with Olivia's vet bills. I think that she's getting to a point now where she's strong enough to be able to have the operations. But these things are very expensive. The operations are expensive, and then the recovery time is very expensive as well. So, if there's anything you can do to help, please go to either Donkey Dreamland on Facebook or visit their website, www.donkeydreamland.com. And if you are able to, you can make a donation towards Olivia's vet bills. So that's Donkey Dreamland. I'm I'm not getting any chats in today, and I don't know if this is a problem, or something I'm doing silly with the new streaming software that we're using. But never mind. We'll see how your live messages have started coming from the platforms. Okay, they haven't yet. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me this evening. I think that Mijas is a very wealthy municipality. And if it gets its act together, there's a lot of money there to do good things for Mijas. And so, suggestions are fine, but we need to get as a community, we need to get involved in this, and we will be talking when we get more information about how you can be involved in the political process in Mijas. And I'm not touting for votes here, but if people are not registered, then it doesn't really matter. But we're still waiting on information coming in from the National Institute for Statistics, showing exactly how we're going to do this. Okay, so finally, next week, Alan Boardman is back. He's been doing travels and TV shows and radio interviews and newspaper interviews for Simply Surviving. So Alan will be joining me next week. I'm looking forward to that. 7 o'clock next week. And well, I hope you have a very good weekend. We're almost at the weekend now. Please take care, and we'll be back together next week.